The Galactic Council's amphitheater had never hosted such a peculiar gathering. Representatives from across the known galaxy filled the crystalline seats, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of clicks, hisses, and harmonic vibrations that the universal translators struggled to process. At the center of it all stood two figures that couldn't have been more different. Cathavar the Destroyer towered 12 feet above the arena floor, his obsidian carapace gleaming under the artificial suns. 4 massive arms extended from his torso, each ending in claws that could slice through starship hull plating. His species, the Veltar, had conquered 17 systems through sheer martial prowess, and Cathavar was their greatest warrior, undefeated in over 300 formal duels. Across from him, looking almost comically small, stood Sarah Chen. She was 5 feet and 6 inches of what the galaxy had learned to call human, wearing simple training clothes and stretching her shoulders like she was preparing for her morning jog. The crowd murmured in confusion. This was supposed to be the champion Earth had sent to represent their petition for galactic membership. Ambassador Zixthal of the hegemony leaned forward, his tentacles writhing with anticipation. The humans had refused every reasonable offer of vassalage, insisting they deserved full membership despite being a single-planet species. The Galactic Council had agreed to this trial by combat purely for entertainment value. After their champion inevitably fell, perhaps the humans would be more manageable. "The terms are simple," announced the Arbiter, a being of pure energy contained within a judicial framework. "Single combat, no weapons, victory by surrender or incapacitation. The humans' victory grants Earth full Council membership. Their defeat," the Arbiter paused. "Well, that outcome seems rather certain." Sarah rolled her neck, producing a series of small pops that made several nearby aliens recoil. "Hey, big guy," she called up to Cathavar in flawless galactic standard. "Mind if I ask what combat sports your people practice?" Cathavar's mandibles clicked in what might have been confusion. "Combat mud sports? The concept didn't translate well. We train for war, little mammal. We perfect the art of killing." "Ah, see, that's your first mistake," Sarah said, beginning to bounce lightly on her feet. "You train to kill. I train to fight." The Destroyer's laugh was like grinding stone, a distinction without meaning. "Prepare to—" The match began without ceremony. Cathavar lunged forward with all 4 arms extended, moving faster than most species could even track. He had crushed opponents before they could blink. Sarah wasn't there. She had shifted slightly to her left, let his momentum carry him past her, and delivered a precise strike to what human anatomists might generously call his kidney. Cathavar stumbled, more from surprise than pain, and whirled to face her. "Nice reach," Sarah commented, still bouncing. "But you telegraph your moves like you're sending a diplomatic message." The crowd fell silent. In 300 victories, no one had ever simply moved out of Cathavar's way. The Destroyer attacked again, this time with more caution, using his superior reach to keep the human at bay. His claws whistled through the air in complex patterns that had taken decades to master. Sarah treated it like a dance. She ducked, weaved, and occasionally stepped forward to land quick jabs at exposed joints. Each strike was precisely placed, targeting pressure points that existed in most bipedal anatomies. She wasn't trying to cause serious damage yet, just mapping her opponent's weaknesses. "This is impossible," breathed Ambassador Zixthal. "She's toying with our greatest warrior." "How does she know where to hit him?" wondered another delegate. "Our species have never even met." High above in the premium viewing boxes, an elderly human in a simple suit smiled. General Harrison had tried to warn the Council that they might want to reconsider this particular test. Humans had been fighting each other for sport for millennia. They had developed dozens of martial arts, each with its own philosophy and technique. They studied biomechanics, leverage, timing, and psychology as sciences. And Sarah Chen? She was a 3-time Olympic medalist in mixed martial arts, held black belts in 5 different fighting disciplines, and had been training since she could walk. More importantly, she had spent the last 6 months studying every available recording of Veltar physiology and combat techniques. Cathavar was growing frustrated. His massive swipes were hitting nothing but air, while the tiny human seemed to land a blow every few seconds. Worse, those blows were starting to add up. His movements were becoming sluggish, his balance questionable. "Stand still and fight with honor," he roared, his voice echoing through the amphitheater. "Honor?" Sarah paused her constant movement for just a moment. "I'm giving you the most honorable thing I can. My absolute best effort. The fact that you can't appreciate the technique isn't my problem. She demonstrated by flowing around his next attack like water, using his own momentum to throw him, all 12 feet and several tons of him, in a perfect judo throw that sent him crashing to the arena floor. The crowd erupted, some in amazement, others in outrage. This wasn't how combat was supposed to work. The strongest, most heavily armed warrior should win. That was the law of the universe. Kethvar struggled to his feet, ichor leaking from several joints. For the first time in his life, he was facing an opponent who was simply better. Not stronger, not more vicious, but more skilled, more prepared, more intelligent in her approach. "I don't understand," he said, his voice subdued. "You are weak, small. How do you best me?" Sarah's expression softened slightly. "You know what, Keth? You're actually pretty good. In your weight class, you'd probably make it to the semifinals, maybe even finals at the Pan-Solar Championships. Want some advice?" The destroyer nodded mutely. "Stop training to kill. Start training to fight. Learn to lose. That's how you get better. Spar with people better than you. Study your defeats. Understand that strength without technique is just wasted energy." She grinned. "Come to Earth sometime. I'll show you some real training methods." Kethvar looked down at his claws, then at the small human who had dismantled him without breaking a sweat. Slowly, deliberately, he lowered himself to one knee. "I yield," he said quietly. The amphitheater exploded into chaos. In the premium boxes, General Harrison chuckled and activated his communicator. "Mission Control, this is Harrison. You can tell the president we're in. Full membership as requested." As Sarah waved to the crowd, some cheering, some still in shock, she couldn't help but smile. The galaxy was about to learn what humans had known for centuries. There's always someone tougher, always someone smarter, and the moment you stop training like your life depends on it, you lose. And Sarah Chen never liked to lose. The human empire wouldn't be built on conquest or intimidation. It would be built on a simple principle that the galaxy was just beginning to understand. When humans compete, everyone gets better.